Today and welcome to Rehash, where we recap some of the big stories of the week. And this has kind of been a recurring story, Nick.
Right.
More contraband at the prison.
Yeah, I can't even get a handle of the count that of announcements that the Department of Corrections has made this week. Just this week alone, I think more than a handful of cases where they found contraband or an attempt to toss contraband into the compound again. And this all comes days after they started implementing some of the new things to curb the contraband from getting inside. Earlier in the week, we brought you the story of how the vendors and the contractors coming onto the prison facility will have to get inspected only between 9 and 11 and 2 and 4. So they're restricting the time frames and doing those extra checks to make sure that they can do what they can to curb that.
And Chris, I know you were in a murder trial all week long.
Oh yes, the end of a 3-week trial finally. It actually took all day Friday for closing arguments, and plot twist, again, I'm talking about Alan Acababa, the man accused of killing his mother, to collect up to $400,000 in her death benefits. She was a flight attendant for United Airlines, and again, she was found dead in her apartment 4 years ago. And so there's conflicting opinions as to how she died. We have Guam's chief medical examiner saying she died from blunt force trauma to the head. We have a California forensic pathologist saying no, it was drug intoxication. Then they were citing these fentanyl patches, and fentanyl is a prescription painkiller that's more potent than morphine. And so we also had a plot twist, like I was saying, where the defense at the last minute proposed a new theory to jurors, and that's that prosecution's witnesses are actually in on it, and that they in fact burglarized the Tumaning home, and somehow Shelley Bernstein was found dead. And so defense has alleged that Randall Fulcher, who was a known convict, and one of the neighbors, Mr. Plew, are actually the ones responsible for the burglary and maybe even perhaps Shelley Bernstein's death. So jurors will head into deliberations following jury instructions on Monday, and who knows what will happen, because the first trial again rendered a mistrial because jurors just couldn't find a unanimous decision.
Well, I'm curious to hear what the verdict is going to be in that case. And Nestor, I know you covered La Texan.
Yeah, the live fire training range at Northwest Field, which is above the location of La Texan. The State Historic Preservation Officer came out this week and sent a letter to Federal Advisory Council asking for a pause in the construction of the firing range complex. This was supported by the governor's office. The governor's advisor for the military buildup, Robert Crisostomo, came out and indicated the ADLOOP support for it. But also, contrary to that, the Admiral made her first public comments at a Rotary Club meeting as defending the need for the live fire training range and how important that is to the military, the Marine relocation here, and also that the Navy has been taking all measures possible to ensure the cultural and environmental concerns that were raised are being handled. So it's a continuing situation, and I'm sure there's going to be much more to report in the days and months ahead. Yeah.
Well, another big story I worked on this week was a lawsuit filed against Gov Guam and the Chamorro Land Trust Commission by the United States Department of Justice. And so we'll have more on that story. That was just filed on Friday, and it alleges racial and national origin discrimination because the Land Trust Commission offers land leases and other services to strictly native Chamorro inhabitants. So we'll have more on that story. And of course, if you have any news tips for us, just email us at reporters@kuam.com.